and welcome. And yes, I'm doing another video about Robot Wars, and yes, it is another top 10. But this time I am talking about the top 10 greatest robots, in my opinion, from Robot Wars. Now the ground rules for this is very simple. The robots have to have appeared in the TV show, i.e. they have to have a canon appearance in Robot Wars as opposed to just appearing in live events and that's it. If it were to involve live event robots, to be honest there wouldn't really be any, so yeah. Well, except for one or two, but I digress. So, welcome to the top 10 Robot Wars robots.
On my top 10 Robot Wars battles, I will be having some commentary over why I've chosen these robots. Once again, this is all my opinion, so if you disagree or you have your own version, then so be it. You can make it up down below in the comments section below. Without further ado, here is my top 10 favourite robots from Robot Wars. However, before we start, let's talk about some honourable mentions. Firestorm is perhaps one of the best flipper bots around. It didn't make my list simply because, I don't know, I kind of prefer the robots that are on my list over Firestorm. Firestorm's a great robot and all, and I certainly love it, but I wasn't on the hype train for Firestorm every time it appears. I sort of just said, there's Firestorm. Not that said, I do think it had a lot of potential and it could have been a champion if it had fought the right opponents. But at the same time, it had a lot of weaknesses. For example, in Series 5, almost all the time, it would get hit and die. It would get crushed by Razor. It could be hit by Hypno-Disc and die instantly. It would lose its flipper to Matilda's flywheel. In Series 4, it was killed off by Dominator. Now granted, it did put up a good fight, but it was killed off by Dominator nonetheless, and its movability was kind of awful. Certainly a strange choice, but another honourable mention is Ratus Ratus. Ratus Ratus is actually a really good Rambot from Series 3, and a Rambot which I honestly would have seen becoming a semi-finalist at the very least. It would have lost the Chaos 2 obviously, but honestly it looked amazing. Its design is really unique. It's actually shaped like a rat, hence the name Ratus Ratus, and it actually was really powerful in its battle against Smidsy. However, because of poor driving, it kind of knocked itself out in the second round, and I feel pretty bad about that, and if I'm honest, that's one of the main reasons why I didn't choose it, because of its small screen time. If I had a larger screen time, I probably would have had it on, but that said, it kind of disappointed. Suicidal Tendencies, in particular the Series 4 Suicidal Tendencies was my favourite in terms of design and look. However, Suicidal Tendencies obviously looked amazing. It's just that it never really got going. In Series 3 it had a really cool drum, but it fought Mace and it was kind of a one-way ticket out of there. In Series 4 it was controversially eliminated, and honestly I kind of wish it went into the semi-finals. It would have put up a great fight against Tornado. One of the main reasons why it's not on my list is, simply put, I'm only selecting 10. Suicidal Tendencies, if this was a top 20 at the very least, would have appeared, same with Ratus Ratus and Firestorm. This might shock a few people, but Hypno-Disc is not going to be on my list. Simply put, Hypno-Disc is the pioneer of absolute mayhem, absolute destruction. However, the main reasons why it's not on my list, the main reasons why I haven't put it on my list is simple. I like Hypno-Disc, that's about it. I can't really say anything spectacular about it. With the top 10 robots, I can say a lot about them and why I really love them. With Hypno-Disc, it's a little bit different. I still just say, yeah, it's Hypno-Disc, it's great. That's all I can say, it's great. I'm sorry if to all you Hypno-Disc fans out there, but it is just meh. It's a good robot, and like I said, it would be in my top 20, but not necessarily my top 10. Those are my honourable mentions, and I hope you enjoy the video to come. So now, here is my top 10 favourite robots from Robot Wars. Now when it comes to Robot Wars, one of my favourite types of robots are Axlebots. Bots are usually one-time losers, however sometimes you get the odd ones who get through and do a lot of damage and end up winning a lot of rounds. But the most successful Axlebot in Robot Wars history is of course Stinger. Ever since I saw Stinger when I was a young kid, I absolutely loved the design. I love the wackiness, I love the crazy maneuverability tactics that they use, and often the battles that they're in are a lot of fun, mainly because Stinger is a fun robot. You can't necessarily kill Stinger by flipping it, you can't necessarily damage it with a disc, and you can't necessarily grab hold onto it, which makes Stinger a real powerful robot when you get down to it. I'm glad to see Stinger is still alive and still in the live events, however, I do kinda hate the rust effect. I understand that it's old now, but can Stinger go back to being silver? I mean, the rust isn't real rust from what I've gathered, and it's actually just a paint job, and it's not really a good one in my opinion. But looks aside, Stinger is a lot of fun, and honestly, it's one of the more memorable all-star robots. It's unique in its design, and it goes to show that Axlebots, despite many of them failing, there are some odd ones that will be successful, some that will honestly be a driving power for more future generations. One of the things I don't like about the modern series and even the live events is the lack of variety and the lack of joke bots. However, what you get in Nuts is a joke bot, and certainly a unique one at that. In the live events you often get flippers, and that's about it. Most of them are boring, and I honestly don't like flipper bots. I'm gonna be honest right now, flipper bots are probably my least favourite type of robot. But that aside, Nuts is unique in the sense of it's essentially a sit and spin robot that has done really well in the live events. In the actual TV show, it has put up some memorable, is good for a laugh, a robot that is, well, nuts, and honestly puts up a good fight when you get down to it. It couldn't be defeated by Behemoth, it couldn't be defeated by Terahertz, and honestly the only times it has been defeated was because of either A, because of its reliability, or because of Carbide, which is understandable when you lose that. Nuts, as I said, the team is a lot of fun. The robot is a lot of fun, and I absolutely love the design of the thing. Yeah, it's very basic, it's basically 2 wheels and a body, but that's about it. That's all you really need for a great robot like this. I was saddened by the fact that they didn't do so well in Series 9, by the fact that they had poor reliability and their drive was all messed up. Which is a real shame, because apparently multi-brain technology used for the robot could really make it a big threat. Let's just hope in Series 10 they do much better. That is, if they're in Series 10. Now, the next one on the list, I will say I don't like the Series 6 version of. That said, previous incarnations of Wild Thing are absolutely amazing. Wild Thing is a unique robot to say the very least. It's essentially a wedge, and that's all it is. A wedge. Sure, they added a disc and a lifter, but let's be honest now, the disc and the lifter didn't really do much. It's all about the driving power, and Wild Thing really does good driving. It really can pack a punch. Every time it slams a robot into the arena sidewalk, it grabs onto a robot and doesn't let. The Addams Family team are quite respectable in my opinion. I found them quite delightful to watch, and honestly I love a lot of the battles Wild Thing are in. Wild Thing's design also, I just love the look of it. I love the flame decals, I love the shape of it, which is unique for a robot like this. And admittedly, I do quite like the red disc, even if it's not entirely useful, it is great. In my opinion, the best version of Wild Thing was the Series 4 version. It was an unstoppable force. Even Hypno-Disc struggled to actually defeat Wild Thing. Suffers from one big flaw, and that is the Series 6 version. It's not a bad version by all means, but it's not brilliant. Yeah, it's evolved and it can be invertible, but I kind of miss the old wild thing. As stated before, I am not a fan of flipperbots. I find a majority of them boring, and I mean boring. One of the main problems with Series 7 in my opinion was the flipperbots. A lot of them weren't fun, they were just grey wedges and that's about it. And of course it annoyed me by the fact that a lot of them were getting quick kills in, which, if I'm honest, kind of made the battles boring. And I flipperbots, and they would cause almighty upsets, and they'll also make the battles really short. I won't say that there aren't any good ones, it's just I find flipperbots boring. However, one flipperbot in particular I have fallen in love with, and in some ways I have a love-hate relationship with this flipperbot. The flipperbot in question is Eruption. What I mean by a love-hate relationship, I find Eruption incredibly overrated. I mean, incredibly overrated. To the point that people, when Series 8 was being aired, kept saying that they would win, but hands down. And then what happened? They lost quite spectacularly, being battered and beaten by PP3D and losing a pushing match against Storm 2. They almost lost to Apollo for, well, winning, but that didn't really change the poor effort in Series 8. Series 9 came around, and honestly I didn't have many high hopes for Eruption. I mean, yeah, it's a 2-time champion in live events, but that's about it. That's about it. Eruption's not brilliant in the actual War Zone, or at least it wasn't in Series 8. Series 9 came around the corner, and boy was my opinion changed. It flipped almost every robot out of the arena. It put up a great battle against Carbide despite being torn to shreds. And yes, it did get immobilized, but it still put up a good fight. And the battle against Aftershock is one of the best I've ever seen. It is so great. Eruption's look and design in the live runs, in my opinion, was very dull and drab. In the show, they've actually made it look a bit more interesting with the red colour scheme, and even the claw/drum blade on top of the flipper, which I think really adds more character to the robot as opposed to being just an average flipper. Eruption may be overrated, but it is deserving of its overratedness. It is fantastic in its battles, and if I'm honest, the one thing they need to improve on is battling spinners. They're not the best when it comes to spinners, and if I'm honest, that's their biggest hindrance. They need to somehow make the armor tougher if they want to win. But they do have a good chance, in my opinion. When it comes to the old toy line, one of my favourite toys was the Panic Attack toy. It was one of the most accurate ones, and I had a few copies of said toy. Panic Attack, in my opinion, has one of the coolest designs. It's basically a flat robot with lifting force, and yet they have such perfect drive. Kim Davis is one of the best drivers in the robot, and also one of the best team players and the best roboteers, in my opinion. Panic Attack has one cool looking design with a spider on top, black and yellow stripes, as well as the warning light on top, which I thought was funny. It had the cool skirts, and it just looks cool. When you see Panic Attack, you know it's going to kick ass, unless it's a Series 6 version, which didn't. But that aside, Panic Attack still impresses me, even though you don't see it at all anymore. And the last time you saw it was in 2012 in this live event battle, but unfortunately in the live event it kind of got bulldozed by BMR fans. Yeah, kind of a shame. But that aside, I still love Panic Attack, and a lot of the battles were really good. One of my favourite Panic Attack battles is the Axel battle. In Extreme 1 they have this wildcard battles which a new robot face an old veteran. In this case, Axel was the new robot, Panic Attack was the veteran. Panic Attack gave Axel one warning, saying that they had one hit and that was it. As soon as they used up the one hit, Panic Attack basically dominated Axel in perfect skill, perfect driving, and great tactic. I was tempted to have this battle on my top 10 favourite Robot Wars battles, but yeah, I kind of felt the other 10 were much better. Maybe at number 11 it would appear. Panic Attack is one of the All-Star best, and it is just great to see. I wish we could see it again in the new series, but if I'm perfectly honest, if it did, it would probably be mauled to death. It was a shame, because it's such a pretty looking robot too. Bar Spinner, Carbide. Oh, Carbide. And it's only in 5th place. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, how come it's not number 1? I'll tell you. I like Carbide a lot. I think it's one of the best spinning robots. I think it's one of the most destructive robots it's ever seen. I think it's absolutely amazing. But there is one flaw, and that is, I kind of find it unstoppable. At least with other robots, there is a way to defeat them. I mean, even robots that seem unstoppable, like Stinger, there's a way to defeat them. The tires in particular was one thing. With Carbide, I don't know if there's any robot that can defeat him. I actually worry for the robots in Series 10, because honestly, we could be seeing another robot winning the championship twice because of how powerful this thing is. But then again, we might have a shock. I mean, Terahertz could defeat him, but then again, they weren't on full power. Okay, let's talk about Carbide itself. Carbide, believe it or not, is actually by Team Tiberius. Well, some of the members from Team Tiberius. One of the members from Team Tiberius. It's a continuation from said team, and it's one of them, and it is certainly their best robot to date. Carbide is willing to destroy anything in its path, and I mean anything. I can't think of any robot that can genuinely defeat it. Terahertz could have a chance, but then again, it wasn't at full power, as I said before, and it was suffering from drive problems. If it wasn't, I don't know if Terahertz would survive, if I'm perfectly honest. The best way to defeat Carbide would probably have a Rambot that's super fast and had a brilliant wedge to it, but then again, we've seen what happened to Shockwave. Carbide is destructive. It is awesome looking with its green and black paintwork, the yellow, red bar spinner, bar spinner. Carbide was certainly deserving of winning the Series 9 championship, and was a brilliant runners-up in Series 8. In fact, something that I find really interesting is how BattleBots Series 1 and 2 are similar to Series 8 and 9, in the sense of a robot defeats a powerful, destructive robot in the grand final and wins. Then that destructive, powerful robot ends up winning the second series, while the former champion loses quite early on. Am I the only one that noticed that? Anyway, Carbide's design is brilliant. It's invertible, it can survive being flipped. It can stop destroying with that bar spinner, which keeps on attacking. It is lethal. Every time a robot goes near it, it is shot a mile away across the arena with half of it missing. It's just beautiful seeing robots being torn to shreds by this thing. Carbide is awesome, and what else can I say, but probably the best new robot from the new series. Number 4 might surprise a few people, but if I'm honest, Big Nipper is probably one of my favourite robots I've ever seen. Why? It's got a really cool design, and it's certainly a surprising design considering how, well, it wasn't brilliant in Series 5, let's be honest. In Series 5 it was just a box with a claw. It did destroy Razor's self-writing, but that's not much when you consider what it is now. In Series 7 it was brilliantly remodeled. It had an awesome weapon that can go 180 degrees around the robot, up and down the robot with its lifting arm claw mechanism thingy-majiggy. By Series 8, we finally get a new Big Nipper, which has a disc. But in between the series, in the live events, Big Nipper kicked ass. It won the championship, for God's sake. It was that awesome. Big Nipper is an awesome looking robot. It is a beautiful looking robot. And if it's in Series 10, because, well, in Series 9 it failed to qualify, which I think is a major injustice considering the awesomeness of this robot. If it is in Series 10, I sincerely hope it actually gets to the grand final at least. It deserves it. In fact, I would love for it to fight Carbide. It would be interesting. Certainly if it uses its claw combination, because if you think about it, it can grab the tyres and could defeat Carbide. Okay, right, I don't know if anything can defeat Carbide, and not even Big Nipper can, but I digress. Big Nipper's design, as I keep going on and on about, it is beautifully done. It is one of the most unique looking robots I've ever seen. The disc also looks great on it. I mean, it's not brilliant and it's not hugely destructive, but if anyone watched the battles, it did cause some considerable damage. I mean, it tore apart King B, and if you watch the battle against Dantomkia, it actually managed to break Dantomkia's flipper, tearing off the front bit and actually bending the flipper inwards. That shows a lot of power. I think what makes this robot what makes this robot in 4th place is kind of my problem with it, and that is I kind of think the control is a bit off, and many of the battles it's in haven't really been interested. I love the robot and I love its design, and I think the team seem great, but I don't know, the battles they're in are kind of dull, haven't you noticed? With the exception of the Dantomkia fight, it's not much that I can think of that are truly great and memorable. It's just, yeah, Big Nippers in this battle, but that's it. Which is a real shame, because I really love this robot, I genuinely do. It's fantastic to see this robot in action, it is fantastic to see it do stuff, and honestly I wish we could see more. It's a shame that we don't, because Big Nipper could potentially win the championship. I mean, it's won the championship in the live events. I think it won it twice actually. I may be wrong about that, but it's only won at least one championship, and honestly I would love to see it here. I would love to see it do well in the real competition. Controversy. When it comes to joke bots, most of them are pretty bad. They tend to just last one battle, and I guess that's the whole point. Joke bots aren't meant to be good, they're meant to just put on for a laugh. However, one joke bot in particular has been very successful. That one joke bot, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is Dietor. Dietor is so memorable with its boggled eyes, its big bushy eyebrows, its stupid grin on its face, and of course they always catch its fire is always fun. Dietor is of course the most successful joke bot, I do believe, as it has won the tag team championship. It also came second in the celebrity special in series 4. That shows a lot of effort for a joke bot, essentially a robot that's not meant to take the game seriously and just is there to have fun, which in my opinion I respect a lot, because at the end of the day Robot Wars is just about having fun. People who take the competition way too seriously I tend to dislike more light-heartedly. Dietor of course is a light-hearted robot. It's got a really fun design, it's got a wacky weapon which never seems to work, and it's in series 3 which seems to work amazingly. And the robot itself, as I said before, was very successful in its path. It's a shame we never got to see it in series A after it failed to qualify, but who knows, maybe we haven't seen the end of our furry friend just yet. I wonder how many people are going to get really angry with me by having this one as number 2. But my second place is the almighty Razor. Razor is just beautiful to look at. It is probably the greatest designed robot of all time. It's got this awesome crushing claw, it's got a brilliant mechanism to self-right with, and honestly, the name alone is great to say. Just hearing the name Razor out loud, it sounds great. Razor's battles, even though some people find them boring, I actually find them a lot of fun. I don't know why people would say they're boring. It's like saying, oh, I don't like Chaos 2's battles because they have a robot being flipped. That's essentially all I get. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some awful Razor fanboys out there that bitch and moan and whine about everything, but then again, I think the Razor haters are just as bad, if not worse. I mean, if I'm honest, I've actually seen more bad things from the Razor haters and Razor fanboys. In fact, I've never really seen this stereotype of a Razor fanboy obsessing over Razor, saying that it's the greatest thing ever, that it should win every battle. I mean, I like Razor, but I know that it wouldn't win. In fact, in Series 8, I doubt it would have won against Carbide of all things. Okay, so tangent aside, Razor is just great. What else can I say? It's just a beautiful looking robot. It's got amazing engineering inside. It's got an awesome weapon. It's got a great self-righting mechanism. It's got a lot of great battles. It's got a great history. And if I'm honest, it's also got a great team. Well, some of the team members are alright. Controversy aside, it is still a brilliant machine. And nonetheless, the team are also likeable, more or less. But there is one robot which I find better than Razor. And ironically enough, it is a robot that's nicknamed E-Razor. If that isn't big enough to for, then I don't know what is. My favourite robot of all time has always been Pussycat is Beautiful. It has one of the most unique designs of any robot. Of all the toys in my Robot Wars collection, I honestly find the Pussycat Pullback one of my favourites. Sure, it's not the most accurate, but it is just stunning to look at, and I loved to play with it when I was a child. Pussycat is just great. It is a robot that started off, ironically enough, being quite a weak robot. It had a poor blade which ended up shattering and causing the robot to be disqualified in Series 3. But then Series 4 came along, and it was brutal. It slaughtered half of the robots that it was up against. It destroyed Razor, not once, but it destroyed Razor twice in Extreme as well. It got to the grand final and lost to Chaos 2 in a judge's decision, only because Chaos 2 was more aggressive and, surprisingly enough, was more damaging, though I'd argue otherwise. But honestly, this robot was so great, it actually could have won a championship. It's a shame though, because a robot like Pussycat is something that you can get these days. If someone was to enter a robot into the new Robot Wars with a robot like Pussycat, it would be destroyed within seconds. But does that stop me from loving Pussycat? No. One of my favourite things about Pussycat was how it drove. The team itself. The team, the Gribble family, were fantastic. And honestly, the more memorable team members or Roboteers I remember from the show, the most memorable actually, I remember. Yeah, the saw blade, well, cutting this, it was pretty to look at. The paint job, though a lot of people don't necessarily talk about the paint job, I really love the paint job for Pussycat. I love the bluish look to it. And I also like the black look to it. I wasn't so keen about the Series 7 look, but even then in Series 7 it won the All-Stars Championship despite being a much weaker machine, which goes to show how resilient this robot is. It's invertible, it's got a really unique shape, it's got a weapon that can rip and tear. It is just stunning to look at. And one of the best parts is, in the live events, or the early days of the live events, Pussycat was still around. it was certainly still around, and I remember seeing one live event where I believe Pussycat tore off the side of Ripper. It is a shame we don't see it anymore, but if it were to return, it would need a heavy amount of upgrades. It would need a heavy amount of upgrades, but that said, Pussycat is just a beautiful machine. It is a destructive machine. It is a memorable machine. It is my favourite machine of all time.